Good morning, friends. Today is February 1st. I am Miss Kate coming to you from the Gale Library in Newton, New Hampshire. And today we are going to do story time about Groundhog's Day. Now, Groundhog's Day is a funny little holiday that we celebrate to see if we're going to have 6 more weeks of winter or if spring is right around the corner. The first book that I'm going to read to you today is called Groundhog Day by Betsy Lewin. And this book is going to tell us what exactly Groundhog Day is. It's February 2nd, Groundhog Day. Everyone is waiting for Phil the groundhog to wake up and come out of his burrow. If it's cloudy, Phil won't see his shadow, and he will stay outside. But that means spring will come soon. If it's sunny, Phil will see his shadow. He will go back inside his burrow, and there will be 6 more weeks of winter. But Phil is still asleep in his dark, warm bed. Suddenly, Phil is lifted up high in the air. Everyone cheers. Then Phil is on the cold ground. He takes a few steps and looks around. No shadow. He sees lots and lots of feet, but no shadow. He looks up and sees a cold gray sky, but no shadow. The crowd shouts, "Hooray! Phil does not see his shadow! Spring is on the way!" Phil hears a big click. A light flashes. The light makes a shadow. Yeek! Squeaks Phil. He dives back into his burrow. All these years, people thought it was the weather. Now we know the truth. Phil is afraid of his own shadow. So it's just a silly little tradition that we have a groundhog named Puxatawny Phil who comes out once a year. And if he sees his shadow, that means cold 6 more weeks of winter. And if he doesn't, that means spring is right around the corner. So we'll have to find out tomorrow if we're going to have a nice early spring or if we're going to have to endure 6 more weeks of winter. Now, I have a fun little song about a groundhog. This is called Little Groundhog. I'm a little groundhog sleeping in my hole. Will I see my shadow? Only I will know. If I see my shadow, more winter it will be. More cold and snowy days for you and me. Well, after that big snow we had this weekend, I don't know how many more cold and snowy days we're going to have, or if we're going to have another one like that. So this next story is called Groundhog's Runaway Shadow by David Biederzerke. I'm sure that I did not pronounce his name right. The only thing that could keep up with little Phil Groundhog was his shadow. No matter how fast he ran or how high he jumped, his shadow followed his every move. Whether he laughed or cried, his shadow was always right beside him. Even when Phil felt small, his shadow could make him feel bigger. But everyone grows up, even groundhogs and their shadows. Grown-up groundhogs are expected to act a certain way. But Phil's shadow had other plans. Phil's idea of the perfect vacation was taking the bus to the local beach. Shadow dreamed of faraway places. Phil loved scary movies. Shadow, not so much. Phil enjoyed eating dandelions, clovers, and tree bark. Shadow craves something spicy. It's Taco Tuesday for Phil, or Phil's Shadow. Phil liked to be on time. Shadow liked to stop and smell the roses. At first, Phil found Shadow's behavior amusing, but a little off-key. Phil's friends found it amazing and a little burp gross. But soon it got annoying and then downright embarrassing. It says P.U. Phil had had enough. Why can't you be like other shadows? I wish you would just go away. Shadow was crushed. He got angry, but then he thought about it. Phil said he should go away, and he had always wanted to travel. So that night, and the next morning, and a couple of days later, and into the following week, that's exactly what he did. Back at home, Phil tried everything to find his shadow. Oh, Shadow, where are you? He posted signs. Have you seen my shadow? If found, keep shadow out of shade and call 555-5555 immediately. He used the newspaper. Groundhog seeks shadow. Fun-loving homebody groundhog is looking for lost shadow. Please come back, Shadow, so we can hibernate together. I promise things will be different. Then he saw Shadow making news. Mysterious Shadow seen at Eiffel Tower. Without him! Shadow meets Queen. Shadow to star in movie. Shadow rocks the White House. Suddenly, Phil's life seemed pretty dull. He longed to be exploring with Shadow. Halfway around the world, Shadow realized something was missing. He had no one to share his adventures. The thought of searching for Shadow scared Phil silly. He'd have to travel far and wide. But the next morning, and a couple of days later, and into the following week, that's exactly what he did. He searched. Shadow! Shadow, Shadow, Shadow. And searched. Shadow? And searched some more. Finally, when he could search no longer, he had an idea. He began to play. And when he did, he heard someone gently accompanying him. The two friends played together, this time in perfect harmony. And the next morning and a couple of days later and forever after that, that's exactly what they did. Except sometimes on February 2nd. Shadow? And there he is off running away. Now that was a funny story. Have you ever made a shadow? Maybe you could ask your mom or dad or a brother or sister or a babysitter or grandparent to find a flashlight and hold it up so that you can see your shadow against a wall. And you can make your shadow move in different ways, or you can use your hands to make shadow puppets. It's a lot of fun to play with your shadow. Now, this is a silly book about another groundhog. This one's named Jeffrey Groundhog, who predicts the weather. This is Jeffrey Groundhog Predicts the Weather by Bruce Kosileniak. I don't think I pronounced that one right either. There's Jeffrey, asleep in his burrow. One morning, after a long winter's nap, Jeffrey Groundhog popped out of his burrow to look for his shadow. It was February 2nd, Groundhog Day. Jeffrey remembered what his mother had told him. If you see your shadow on Groundhog Day, go back to sleep because winter will last 6 more weeks. If there is no shadow, spring will soon be here. Jeffrey hurried into town to tell the newspaper that he had not seen a shadow. "So, no shadow and spring is almost here, is that it?" asked Merton Moose. The story ran in that afternoon's Daily Gazette. The Daily Gazette. Groundhog says no shadow. Spring has sprung. Within a few days, the weather turned warm, the snow melted, and the ground thawed. Spring had truly sprung. "Predicting the weather is easy," said Jeffrey. The following winter, Jeffrey dozed snug as a bug, dreaming groundhog dreams in his warm nest at the bottom of his burrow. Toward the end of January, folks started asking for clues as to what Jeffrey might predict. "No, Mrs. Hen, you'll have to wait until February 2nd for Jeffrey's forecast." "Yes, Mr. Duck, we'll let everyone know if Jeffrey sees his shadow." As Groundhog Day drew near, the television cameras and lights were moved into place around Jeffrey's burrow. This year, everyone would be able to watch the biggest, groundhogiest Groundhog's Day ever. Bimble's TV Incorporated. Spectacular Groundhog Day sale. 1 week only super groundhog event. Rock bottom prices. Big, big, big groundhog special. Jeffrey's handsome picture had been popping up all over town. Selling jogging shoes, read it in the Gazette. Watch for Jeffrey. Jeffrey ate here. Jeffrey's bubble bath. Big tooth. Jeffrey toothpaste. Jeffrey's sunglasses, Jeffrey's breakfast drink. Bright and early on Groundhog Day morning, everyone waited for Jeffrey. "Anybody seen that groundhog?" 1 hour passed. 2 hours passed. 3 hours passed. Yet still no Jeffrey. "Jeffrey? Hello, Jeffrey," called Merton. "Are you home?" "Hello, Jeffrey. Where is that groundhog?" "Jeffrey, are you down there?" "Oh, no, I overslept," groaned Jeffrey. He flew out of bed, dashed to his door, and made his appearance. "Jeffrey, Jeffrey," called Merton. "What did you see? Was there a shadow?" "I don't know," cried Jeffrey. "With all the cameras and lights and everybody crowding around, I could hardly see the ground in front of me, much less my shadow." The Daily Gazette. Groundhog doesn't have a clue. "I don't know what I saw," says Jeffrey. "Was there a shadow?" Weather picture muddled. Oh no. Now things were really up in the air weather-wise. Nobody knew whether to bring out the golf clubs or the snow shovel. No one knew whether to wax the skis or the surfboard. And no one had a clue whether to plug in the electric fan or the electric blanket. All weather reports were canceled. "Jeffrey, this is causing major problems," muttered Merton. "We need your prediction now." "Oh, all right," moaned Jeffrey. "I'll have my answer this afternoon." "Hello? Hello? No, we don't know what he saw." "Hello? Hello? We don't know what Jeffrey saw." "Jeffrey says winter 6 more weeks. It's official. Put spring wear in the mothballs." "So, Jeffrey, how could you predict that winter will last 6 more weeks?" asked Rebecca Raccoon. "No one was really certain if there was a shadow or not. Did you guess?" No," said Jeffrey. "Did you make a study of how weather works?" asked Sunny Squirrel. "Nope," said Jeffrey. "To be honest, I called my mom. On Groundhog Day, she always looks for her shadow, too." "Whew," sighed Jeffrey. "Predicting the weather is very tiring. I better get back to my nest for a nap." And that is exactly what he did. So those are just some of the stories that we have about Groundhog's Day here at the Gale Library. And I also have one more fun song. But before we sing that, I'd like to show you today's crafts. First, we have a little groundhog that peeks out of his hole. And you know, if you took a flashlight and shined this on him, you could make him see his shadow and push back into his hole. So that's one of the crafts we have down on the front porch for you. And the other craft is for you to make your very own Groundhog's Day hat. And if you look, there is a groundhog all dressed in his winter attire and a groundhog who's ready for spring. So tomorrow you can find out if Puxatawny Phil sees his shadow, and you could either draw a spring scene or a winter scene right here, or draw an arrow to which one he saw. So this last groundhog song I have for you is called Groundhog. Where is Groundhog? Where is Groundhog? Here I am, here I am. Shadows on this sunny day, frighten groundhogs all away. Winter will stay, winter will stay. Where is Groundhog? Where is Groundhog? Here I am, here I am. My oh my, a cloudy day, I will stay outside to play. Spring is near, spring is near. So that is all I have for you today for story time. Thank you so much for joining me. And now I'm going to say goodbye. So long now, till next time. See you later, alligator and a wild crocodile. Have a good day. Bye-bye.